All right, today we're drawing lips together. But it's not just a let's draw and be done kind of thing. I'm gonna show you how I actually think. Because most people see the result, but they don't see the mental process in between. First, I look at the reference. I look at it for a long time. I don't even draw. I just observe. What is the general form of the lip? It's not as complex as we think. It's like a large, slightly flattened ellipse. That's why I don't dive straight into details. Right now, my only goal is to capture that big form. I used to do the exact same thing. I dive straight into the details before even seeing the big picture. And of course, because of that, I could never actually finish anything. I just end up with a pile of half-baked drawings that never quite reach the finish line. Notice that my lines aren't clean, they're fragmented, even a bit like scribbling, on purpose, because at this stage, the right form is important, not a pretty line. I don't use an eraser, seriously, because reaching for the eraser too early means panic, and we don't want panic. I keep looking at both the reference and the screen. I'm constantly comparing. Is the upper lip a bit too low? Is the angle of the teeth correct? I make tiny, tiny corrections. This is like a sculpture. I'm carving it out. Sometimes I get completely stuck just trying to pick a reference. I'll spend hours, literally hours, just scrolling and searching, and by the time I find the one, I realize I spent more time looking than I ever would drawing. It's honestly kind of ridiculous. Now I'm adding some darker lines because I need a sense of volume. The lips shouldn't look like a flat sticker. We want depth. The sketch always looks so perfect. Like, this is it. This is going to be a masterpiece. But the moment I start the clean lines or the coloring, the magic just disappears. It's a total expectation versus reality moment. Every single time. By the way, let me tell you something. Flipping the canvas, it's a lifesaver. Your eyes get used to the image. When you flip it, mistakes hit you like a slap in the face. I'm raising the upper lip a bit more, for example. It looks stronger in the reference. I'll draw one side of the face perfectly. I mean, literally flawless. But then comes the other side. It's like my hand suddenly forgets how to hold a pencil. I spend more energy trying to fix the symmetry than I did on the whole drawing. In the end, I just hide it under some hair and call it a day. All right, the sketch is set. I make the sketch layer transparent and open a new layer underneath. Now for the fun part, color. I grab a big brush and lay the color down directly. No blending, no finessing, just big color areas. I'm not worried about details yet. Again, think big. I place the dark areas, the inside of the mouth, corners, places where the light doesn't reach. Then I leave the light areas. Light and shadow create the form on their own anyway. Whenever a drawing isn't working out, I immediately start blaming my gear. The pen nib is worn out, or my brush settings are messed up. Deep down, I know it's not the tools. I'm just having an off day. But hey, downloading a new brush set is much easier than admitting that. right? Here's something important. I do not zoom in, because if I zoom in, I get lost in the details. Looking from a distance means managing the painting. Now I'm enriching the tones, more saturated reds, darker transitions. As the contrast increases, the lips start to come alive. I open a new layer on top. I clean up the edges, but I don't make everything sharp. Some parts of the lip edges should remain soft, because in real life, not every edge is sharp as a knife. By the way, I'm not strictly tied to the reference. My goal isn't to copy, it's to understand. Where is the light coming from? Where is the reflection most intense? Is the lipstick glossy or matte? In my reference, there's a glossy lipstick, so I'm going to exaggerate the reflections a bit. And here's a small but powerful detail: ambient color. I turn on the setting in Photoshop that creates tapered lines. It seems like a small thing, but when the start and end of the line thin out, it looks more natural. This is where the quality goes up. And we've reached the most critical part, the highlight. If the light is coming from outdoors, there will be a slight blue reflection in the bright areas. So I take a very light blue-toned color, lower the opacity, and touch up the highlights. This instantly makes the painting look more professional. Now I'm moving on to fine details, the small lines on the lips, textures, but I don't overdo it. Too much detail kills a painting. I'm staying controlled. New layer, I take a very light, almost white pink. Now I make a bold and crisp stroke exactly where the light hits the most. But be careful, if you put highlights everywhere, nothing will look bright. You have to be selective. I add a bit of blur, then sharp, tiny touches on top again. I work layer by layer, no rush. I add some slight detail to the teeth as well, but I don't shift the focus there. This is a study of lips. The general process is always the same, really. Big form, values, color depth, controlled detail, and finally, the highlight. And let's be honest, drawing lips is truly enjoyable.